Hi guys! Hello! Hi! Drink po guys. Ala! Oh my gosh! Guys, kalinaw guys! Oh my gosh! Wala! Wala kalinaw dyan! What should we do, bay? Hindi na tayo magpanik. Manawag na let's go. Let's go, let's go.
Ano? Unsa kang nagpanik tapag naog ato?
That is why it is important to have knowledge on disaster mitigation and prevention.
Unsa may pasabot ana?
So, nara siya guys. Let's try to look at our video.
Rationale for disaster prevention and loss control. Why is there a need to practice disaster prevention and mitigation? To save lives, to preserve the environment, and to protect property and the economy. In disaster prevention and mitigation, it is important to hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. Before we proceed with a detailed discussion about this topic, let us first define some terms. What is emergency? It is a serious situation or occurrence that demands immediate action. What is disaster? It is the result of a calamitous event causing massive death, injury, or damage. What is prevention? These are activities taken to prevent a natural phenomenon or potential hazard from having harmful effects on either people or economic assets. There are two types of emergencies, the natural and the man-made. The natural emergencies are events that are caused by the forces of nature. Example would be flood, volcanic eruption, earthquake, typhoon, drought, and tsunamis. Man-made emergencies are results of human error, fatigue, poor housekeeping, poor maintenance of equipment, lack of adequate training, or in some cases, a willful intent. Examples are industrial fires, chemical leaks or spills, chemical threats, bomb threats or explosions, structure collapse, construction cave-ins, and biological threats. There are three core agencies involved in dealing with emergencies. The police. The police deal with the security of person and property, which can cover all the categories of emergency. They also, to some extent, deal with punishment of those who cause an emergency through their deliberate actions. The fire service. The fire service deal with potentially harmful fires, but also often rescue operations such as dealing with road traffic collisions. Their actions help to prevent loss of life, damage to health, and damage to or loss of property. The emergency medical service. The emergency medical service attempt to reduce loss of life or damage to health. This service is likely to be decisive in attempts to prevent loss of life and damage to health. In some areas, emergency medical service is abbreviated to simply EMS. Planning for emergencies. Elements of emergency preparedness program. Review of the workplace hazards, evaluate resources, develop emergency plan and procedures, conduct training, conduct drills and exercises, educate the public, and integrate with community plan. Emergency response procedure. Develop an emergency plan. First, Identify all exits, stairways, and existing floor plans of the work area. Also identify the location of all fire extinguishers, pull stations, and any other fire adjunct alarms and fire suppression equipment. Make certain that all emergency phone numbers are clearly listed and are readily available next to telephone. Report all potentially hazardous conditions to your supervisor immediately. Especially focus on conditions or materials which, in the event of an emergency, might block evacuation routes or in some manner further contribute to the emergency. Do not block or wedge any stairwell doors in the open position at any time. Establish a meeting point or safe refuge area away from the building and other hazards such as overhead power lines. Assign someone the responsibility of accounting for all employees in the event of an emergency. Identify first aid attendants. Inform and train all personnel on the established and agreed upon means of reporting a medical emergency. Lastly, test your plan to make sure that it works. Please refer to the link below for detailed emergency measures in case of fire, earthquake, chemical spill, severe weather, and flood. An emergency kit is also listed on the link provided below. Are you enjoying this video? Kindly give it a thumbs up. Once again, it is important to hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst.